So before I continue on and talk about other ways that you can rotate an image, I'm picking up on this video where I left off in the last one. So I'm on the stage here, I have my history panel open and I'm on rotate canvas. And remember, if you don't see your history panel, look for this icon next to your layers. And if you don't see that, go up to window and choose history. All right. So I just wanted to point out that I'm at my first step, but I want to go back to the way this image looked all the way at the beginning. So that's when I click on the thumbnail up here and it has the name of the image. And that gets me all the way back to the beginning stage. So I'm going to minimize this. And this time, instead of going up to image rotation and choosing counterclockwise, I'm going to do the whole thing through the crop tool. So I have the crop tool selected, and you see how it gives that like the arrows on the end, the bounding box where I could click and drag. If I put my mouse on the outside at any one of the corners, I get a curved double arrow. And that means that I could click, I'm holding down my mouse, and drag and rotate my image. So I'm rotating it at the same time I'm now going to crop it. So now I need to adjust this preliminary crop because it's no longer a vertical image, but a horizontal. And I'm going to drag this over to the ends, cropping off or selecting just the inside part of the image that I want to keep until it's basically what I want. And then I can hit OK. All right, so in this example, just did it all with the crop tool. That can be very useful. I'm going to skip over here. I have this other image called Brooklyn. This is an image from this where I used to live in Brooklyn. This was actually the view from my kitchen window. I stepped right out onto the roof of another building. And so this image is almost straight, but it's not completely straight. Like, look at this. That kind of bothers me. I wish that this was completely straight here. So this time I still have the crop tool selected, and I could do the same thing. I can put my mouse over into the corner, I get the double curved arrows, and I can click and drag, and a little grid comes up, and that does help me find my alignment. I'm basically trying to align this line with the grid. Let me just go back here so you can see it. I'm trying to line those up. Kind of freezes out for a second. And if I like that, I can commit. I go up to the options bar and hit commit, and it straightened it out. And then I'll show you another way. I'm going to undo that in the history panel. Also, once I have the crop tool selected, I could go up to the options bar and take my straighten tool, and I'm going to trace the edge of this building. You see I get this line, and I'm just going from the top edge to the bottom edge. So what this is doing is it's measuring how many degrees it would need to rotate to become 90 degrees. So it's saying it needs to change 2.7 degrees. And so this only works as well as you do your outline. And once I let go, it rotated, I commit to it, and I'm going to zoom out, taking my magnifying tool here, and I'm going to use the Alt key to switch it to a zoom out tool, and we can see how this worked as well. So in this image, roadkill, I actually don't mind that the horizon line is slanted. I think it gives it kind of an interesting point of view. But if I did want to straighten it, let's do the same thing. I'm going to select the crop tool, and I could freehand it, so to speak. Just put my mouse out here and click and drag and rotate it as I want. And that looks pretty good. And notice though, once I rotated it and I made the crop, I will have to lose good chunks of my image because it's keeping the crop at the same perspective, the same size that my image was originally. And if I want to keep my lines here, if I want to be able to keep this still as a vertical image, I'm going to have to crop off that. So I can hit straighten, and that's my new image. And that it looks good. I kind of just like the way it looked the other way. And now I'm just going to redo that, and still crop tool selected, but this time I'm going to take the straighten and I'm going to click and drag along the horizon line, and it does the straightening for me instead of me doing it freehand, and I hit commit, and there it is. Okay, so you have a couple of different options here for how you want to rotate your image. Just going back to the beavers for sale image, I want to point out that when we do go up to image rotation, we are rotating all of our layers. So far in the examples I gave you, it's all one layer. But I'll just quickly create a new layer and paint on it something just to give you as an example. So now this is on its own layer. Just paint a little bit over here. I'll create another layer. Just pick a different color just for the sake of sort of showing you I have some different layers. Okay. And now if I go up to image rotation, I will do it 100. I'll do flip canvas horizontal. It rotated or flipped, in this case, all of my layers as well. So that's what you're really doing when you're working with the going up to image rotation. It's like it's taking that entire canvas and they're all locked and working together. And if I did this with the crop tool and I work to rotate, it's the same thing as well. That rotation rotated all of my layers as well. In another video, I'll talk about what if I wanted to rotate just an individual layer and not all of them together.